Hello and welcome to the Raleigh Kids How-To video series with myself, your host, Grant Fielder. We are here at Avon Tyrrell Activities Centre, which offers some of the coolest trails in the south, from blue runs, beginner runs, red runs, which is intermediate, but also the coolest gravity track, which is for the more advanced riders. We're going to be tackling loads of different techniques. Come check it out. In today's episode, we're going to be focusing on safety. We're going to be looking at helmets, pad protection, as well as setup of our bikes. One of the most important things before we set off on our bike ride is making sure that we are safe, and we do that by wearing a helmet. We've got a really cool helmet here, nice little peak, lots of adjustments, so then it's going to be super comfortable before we set off on our bike ride. So round the back, normally on most helmets, there should be a little adjustable strap, which we simply tighten clockwise just to tighten it a little bit more, make it nice and comfy. And right at the front, we've got our strap. So the most important thing is making sure this always is done up. And we do that by making sure that we hear a nice click and making sure that there's enough space here for 2 fingers. That way, it's going to be nice and comfortable. It's not going to fall off and you're going to be able to breathe. So when we're riding, we want to make sure that we're nice and comfortable. We want some nice suitable clothing like Lewis has got here, nice hoodie, some really cool gloves, nothing too over padded because you want to be able to feel your grips. He's got some super cool, tough trousers, but very flexible and durable, and some really cool flat-soled shoes. This is perfect for when we're about to go out and tackle those trails. Okay, so after we've checked our helmet, we've got suitable clothing on, we want to make sure that our bikes are nice and safe, and we do that by doing the M check. And we say the M check because we want to cover the shape of an M throughout our bike. So we're going to be starting at the front wheel, all the way up to the stem, down to the cranks, up to the saddle, and then down to the back wheel. With the first part of the M check, we always want to make sure that our front wheel spins. Then we know that our brakes aren't rubbing. We also know that the wheel is nice and straight as well. Second thing we want to do is just rub our hands along the spokes, make sure there's no loose spokes in there. It's quite rare, but it's still enough to actually get a puncture and put your wheel out of line. If we want to be checking our tyres to make sure there's enough air in there, we do that by pinching it as hard as we possibly can. You may even need to use 2 hands. So after we've checked the front wheel, we're going to be coming up to the stem, and we're going to be coming around to the front of the bike, and we're going to be trying to move our handlebars whilst pinching the front wheel. This way, we know that our stem is going to be tightened up enough. The last thing we want to be doing is going around a corner and not turning at all and going straight over that corner. So now we want to be checking the front brake. So we just move our bike slowly forwards, pulling our front brake, and hopefully enough for our back wheel to come off. Then we know that we've got enough energy in our brake lever to stop. We're going to be coming down to the cranks. So all we need to do is just simply pedal it back slowly, just making sure that your gears aren't too engaged. Just pedal it back slowly, so then we know that our bottom bracket and cranks actually work themselves. We want to be checking the pedals, just giving them a little bit of a tap like this, making sure that they spin nice and freely. Also with the other pedal as well, making sure that spins nicely, and that's good. Now we want to be checking the cranks. So we want to be holding onto one of these crank arms, and we want to be rocking it across the bike, just making sure that the bottom bracket is nice and sturdy as well. So after we've checked the cranks, we want to be coming up to the saddle. We want to be holding the saddle with 2 hands. We want to be rocking it backwards and forwards, and also from side to side. And once that's nice and solid, we know that that's safe. Last but not least, we want to be checking the back wheel. So we lift up the back of the bike by the saddle, and then spin the wheel towards the saddle. So just like that, that's it the other way. There we go. So that spins nice and freely, just like my bike. Now we know that the wheel is nice and straight. So the next thing we want to be doing is checking the tyre pressure, giving them a little bit of a push, trying to push it as hard as you possibly can. And if it doesn't really move, it almost suggests that we've got enough air in there. And last but not least, we want to be checking that our back brake works. So just rolling our bike forwards, pulling our back wheel, and it should put on a little bit of a skid. That way we know that our brakes are working. That is the M check. Thanks for watching episode 1 on safety. Next episode, we're going to be taking a look at braking.